What do we want? Rollers! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Rollers!
How's everybody doing here? Milwaukee, Wisconsin! Woo! All right, America's Dairyland. Great to be here. You know what? I think we had a question before from Mike. I wonder if Senator Ron Johnson's here. Senator Johnson? Somewhere. I think I see up there, baby. Oh, no, it's the shadow. Okay. But you know what? I think even if he were here, it wouldn't matter. And the reason why is because he refuses to meet with his constituents who want to talk to him about the PRO Act. Even before we ask him for his support for the PRO Act, even though we know the answer, he won't even meet with his constituents. That's wrong. And I know they're not going to meet because he rarely returns phone calls, and this is coming from Republicans. I knock on doors. I've talked to a lot of people in his 14-month Senate campaign. It doesn't matter if they're a Democrat, or Republican, or independent. He doesn't return phone calls. That is malpractice, as far as I'm concerned. I was in the state assembly. A lot of Republicans called me. I called every one of those constituents back. Let me tell you how out of touch Senator Johnson is when it comes to the PRO Act and the issues important to working families. I want you to read you 3 quotes from him. I really don't think public sector employees should be unionized.
That's not right.
Why not? What's wrong with public sector workers? I'm all about freedom, and I have never quite understood why individual employees are forced to join unions or forced to pay dues. I mean, that's kind of like asking the question, why would an employee want to be forced to get better benefits and higher wages? Doesn't understand about unions and the power of working families. Then again, Ron Johnson's never been about the workers. Always been about himself and the millionaires and the billionaires. 2/3 of the U.S. Senate are millionaires and billionaires. We don't need to send another one there. He has voted for tax cuts upon tax cuts to feather his nest and benefit his millionaire friends. Speaking of, listen to this. Raising the minimum wage isn't a solution. It is a trade-off. The benefit is higher income for some poor people. I mean, isn't that why we're here today? And we talk about all the issues. There are a lot of really important issues. The issue of economic security is fundamental to all of us, to our families, whether you're in the public sector or in the private sector, whether you drive a bus, whether you work at AT&T. I see my brothers and sisters from CWA strong. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I want to tell you a story about Appleton Coating. It was a paper mill that was going to be shut down. It's going to be scrapped. A big bank, PNC Bank, and I think they've got a bank around here someplace, I'm sure they do. They sent that little mill that had been on for 120 years, put them into receivership. A big scrap dealer from California bought them up and was going to scrap them. The workers fought back. I fought back because we believed in that little paper mill. We believed in those 600 workers and 600 families that made us the paper valley. We objected to that ruling. We went before a judge, and we prevailed on that judge to give us a second chance. And we proved that we could run that little mill and we could generate a profit. We brought back 300 jobs. In the first month, we turned on one machine. The third month, we turned on the second machine. On the fourth month, we started up the third and final machine. And by month 6, those workers were getting their profit-sharing checks. All because of a union. All because of a little county executive who believed in his constituents, who believed in the power of labor. That workforce was organized so they could fight back. If that workforce was not organized, they would not have been able to fight back, and that mill in Combined Locks, Wisconsin, will be a scrap heap today. So I want to thank you again, CWA. I want to thank the entire labor movement for making that possible. That is the power of community. So it's because of that story, I believe it's incumbent upon someone like me that knew that labor made a difference in their community, saved those 300 jobs. The least that we can do is to pass the PRO Act. Because every worker, public sector, private sector, has the God-given right, freedom of association in this country to organize. And you know what? If I go to the U.S. Senate, I'm not going to stop with the PRO Act. Because To me, what the PRO Act is, it's a good start. We're going to open up the Wagner Act and make sure we get rid of those racist provisions that make it so difficult for agricultural workers, for domestic workers to organize. Because when that legislation was written 80 years ago, it deliberately excluded those workers. Those provisions are inherently racist. But we're not going to end there. We are going to repeal the Taft-Hartley Act. That was the beginning of the decline of the American labor movement. We're going to change that. So thanks again to Our Revolution. We're coming all the way over here from Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, on the way to New York. Give those Starbucks workers, those brave Starbucks workers, our very best. Give them a good Wisconsin greeting. Thanks again to everyone. Appreciate it very much. I'm going to pass the microphone back to Mike. Thanks, Mike.
One day stronger. One day longer. One more time. One day stronger.